So I want you to think, if you ever had a time in your life, I'm sure this has probably not ever happened to anyone, where you had an idea or a desire and you really were ready for it and then you gave up on it. No one here, right? You know, this is so common for human beings, to have a desire or a need or a want and then head off in that direction and something gets in your way. Like what? Give me some excuses, or some reasons, some really good reasons of why we give up on it. Fear? Time? Age? Money? Obligations? Motivation. People telling you it won't work.
Just self-doubt.
Yeah, self-doubt. Too hard. Yeah, I mean, why fight City Hall? We know the paperwork involved. That's just too much work. I don't know what I was thinking. And you know what? It's not a big deal, really. It's not that important. But what if it is? What if it is important? What if, I'm just saying, what if, you know, a lot of times, I'll just tell you my story, real short. There came a time in my life where, okay, back up. From childhood, I was a singer, and I found all kinds of ways to use my voice. And then I got interested in other things, and I got tired of singing. And I actually had people coming and telling me, shame on you. Shame on you for not singing. That's God's gift. You shouldn't be storing that somewhere. You should be out there expressing that. So if anything, I would like you to think not so much that, you know, God is saying, why aren't you singing, Kitty? But perhaps it's, I am Kitty, singing. I'm talking for God now. Here's God talking. I am Kitty. I'm going to come in as Kitty and sing. So that's a possibility. I mean, that's a possibility that we give up on those things, and shouldn't feel guilty about it as much as, what if I came here to allow the divine to express as me as a singer, and I'm just too scared? You know, that's when we need to take a second look. Too scared or letting life's obligations get in the way. I want you to just keep noticing when your heart is pulling you in a certain direction, and it's Spirit laying those desires on our heart, but we're saying no because of all those reasons that we've probably learned since childhood, how to have things come and get in our way. So imagine you are the expression of the divine. You know, I say this on a regular basis, and I'm wondering if you're really listening. Not that I think that you're trying to ignore me, but sometimes it's such a big concept that I'm not sure any of us really get it. But I'll just keep saying it. You are an expression of God. Now, your head should be exploding if you were really taking that in. And as that vehicle, that beautiful, individualized expression of the divine, your own unique self, it's God's nature to create, to keep unfolding, to keep evolving. That's why we are here. And we chose planet Earth as a location that really makes it possible. Almost demands that we create on a regular basis, mostly to get us out of our problems, right? And that's okay. If we got to have problems in order to get us moving and evolving and unfolding, great, so be it. I think we kind of knew that before we got here. So I just want you to consider, again, I am a spiritual being, a unique expression of the divine, and I'm not going to lay one of those trips on you about, you know, you've got a gift in you, because I know how hard that is. I'm not a singer. I'm not an artist. I don't know what my gift is. Okay, don't get caught up in that. How about if we just work with, what do you need today that isn't quite here in front of you that you've got to put together in some way? Treat that as a way for you as spirit to create something new, even if it's dinner. You know, Lord knows, especially those moms that are fixing for a whole family, what am I going to cook for dinner again? So let's just treat it as, I am the Spirit of God with infinite ideas and unlimited resources, I'm going to go after dinner tonight, and I'm going to feel good about it if I get through that. That's a possibility for who we are. Keeping in mind that with God, as God, all things are possible. That's another thing that we say. Jesus tried to bang it into the heads of his disciples. Nobody was getting it. All things are possible. Up here on the screen, John Randolph Price. I recommend this book. It's called Nothing is Too Good to Be True. And here's what he said. God, the infinite consciousness of the universe, expresses itself as me, as everyone. If we just meditated on that for a few thousand days, I want you to just let that sink in. If you ever needed a divine mind to express something in your life, now might be a good time. When you think about everything that's going on in the world right now, wouldn't you say now would be a good time for all of us to kind of step into that role and see what Spirit wants to express? So that's what we're finishing up our series on open-mindedness with today. Open-minded about infinite possibilities. I threw in that infinite just to make you shake a little bit. Infinite possibilities. So I think that to start with, we need to really, really, really understand how it's possible. How is it possible for infinite possibilities to flow through us? So let me just get you grounded in what we would call in Unity spiritual principles or spiritual truth that is going to support you in doing this. So that way, when all those excuses come up, you just shut them right down with this up here on the screen. God is mind. Let's say this all together. God is mind, filling all space. Just take that in for a minute. So if that's true, would you agree that's true? We say God's omniscience. That's what that means. All knowledge, all knowing, all intelligence, all information, all ideas, all wisdom, all creation, filling all space. That's out there and that's in here. Just take that in. Just meditate on that for a week. God is mind, filling all space. We don't need a club card to get it. Don't have to be a member of anything. You already are mind, filling all space. So that's good, right? Also, let's say this one together. God is spirit, filling all space. So think of spirit as that presence that we're never separate from. When we feel like we're all alone in this, you're not. God is spirit, which means everywhere present. I can never go anywhere. I can never be in any kind of situation where I'm separate from the fullness of the divine. And that scripture that says we live and move and have our being in God, just let that sink into you. You wouldn't exist. And the reason that you're going to exist eternally is because God is spirit, filling all space. That should give you a sense of relief. Take a breath. Okay, keep this one in mind. Let's say it together. God is substance, filling all space. So when we talk about substance, the word substance is about standing under. So God is what stands under everything. Stands under a tree. It's the essence of a tree. It's the essence of the planet. It's the essence of your body. From the most minute subatomic particle in your body to the deepest, darkest part of outer space, God is the substance of that. Just imagine that. You don't even need to, this is where your mind tries to go and figure out how or get the details on it. Just drop that part and just go with. Okay, so that means that, as science would say, everything is energy. Everything is made up of energy that we can't see, but somehow it becomes visible. The scripture said that way before science came up with that. That all that is visible starts from the invisible, and it fills all space. So we're in agreement with quantum physics there. And because of that, no matter what it is that we need, there's enough substance to bring it into form. That's what it comes out of, substance into form, okay? So that should be another sense of relief. When we start to say, I don't have enough money or enough belongings or whatever it is, we go backwards and say, no, God is, what's the word? Substance filling all space. Whew, what a relief. All right, how about this one? Together? God is power filling all space. The energy you need, the power, the motivation, the get up and go, the power to do anything, get you out of bed in the morning, get you from start to finish on a job, that's already filling all space, already available to you. So anything that's moving in motion or needs to be, we just turn towards the power. Think of that activity as the activity of the divine. The life energy in your body is a form of that. And that is of God. And it's always perfect, whole, and complete, so there's no shortage on it, and it's not broken in any way. There's plenty of it. As a matter of fact, the next item up here is part of that power. It's the nature of that power together. God is love filling all space. So knowing that there is motion around us ready to help us in any way, and its nature is love, then the good news is we know that it's working for our good. That's the nature of love. So when you look at this list up here, let's add the last one together. God is the all, filling all space, everywhere present. All right, I want you to hear this. I want you to really, really hear this. And if when you hear this, something in you goes, then I want you to ask why. Why did I just go, eh? Are you ready for it? Lack does not exist. Lack does not exist. Now, you know, the ego is, first of all, going to come up with a whole bunch of excuses about why that's wrong. And one of our responses could be off that list. It could be the power of love coming through us saying, thank you for sharing. What did we say last week? Thank you for sharing. And there's more here than meets the eye. It all begins in the invisible. Actually, here's what I really want you to hear today. It all begins in the mind. It's all in the mind. Unity got started back in the late 1800s, following after probably, I would say, the Transcendentalists came up with this first, but then it went into what they called a mind cure movement, where they didn't have very good doctors or very good medicine at the time. But someone came up with the idea that we could actually use our minds to cure our bodies. That's true because of all those other things that we just looked at, because God is mind, and God is our substance, and God is our power, and we need our minds, we direct our minds, we choose to direct our minds so that we can actually access it. But it begins in the invisible, in the realm of thought, followed by belief, equaling feeling, bringing in, attracting in that which is of like kind. So this is how it all begins in the mind. I was tempted to share this with you, and then I read some stuff about it being fraudulent, but I really believed this person that told me his personal experience about it, so I'm going to tell you. So take it with a grain of salt, but what I'm trying to get across is the point that it's all in the mind. A spiritual teacher, an intuitive, telling his story, I won't even give you his name, in his early years of unfolding his gifts and skills, followed a woman for a week because he had learned that her gift was psychic healing. Ever heard of that? Yeah. Look it up and AI will say it's a fraud. Yeah, it's all a fraud. Science and doctors have already proven that they're manipulating things with their hands, and maybe some are. Okay? But I'm just going to take a chance here and say this, because if it is real, that's my new statement, is I don't know for sure, but if it is real, I'll repeat to you what she said to him. And what she was doing was really just reaching into their bodies and pulling out tumors. Have you ever heard of that? Okay, yeah. So maybe it's a fraud, maybe it's real, maybe it's both. But my point is, after she did this for a week and they never spoke, he just watched. He said, I was just too afraid to even talk to her. I watched, and at the end, she turned and looked at me and she said, it's all in the mind. To be able to see that there's no solidity to your hand and there's no solidity to their body. And I mean, as spirit, we will walk through walls, yes? And that's who we are primarily. So, is it real? I don't know. Could it be real? Yes, because all things are possible. How? It's all in the mind. Okay, so you can set that whole story aside, but I just wanted you to get that point. That this is how we make big changes in our life. This is how we open our mind, the doorway to higher thoughts, in order to reveal our divine nature. That's what Jesus' life was all about. Kept showing them all these miracles. And what did he say? The things I do, you shall do also. Okay? So mind is the same as belief. It's the same as faith. That's all. That in itself is one of our spiritual powers. So, when I said lack does not exist, let me tell you what John Randolph Price says about this, up on the screen. There is no place where God leaves off and something else begins. Darlings, if you just studied that and thought about that, you could see that all things are possible. If you understand what God is and how everything comes out of God, that manifestation, that healing, that ideas, that abundance all comes first out of the substance underneath of God, and then you learned there's no place where God leaves off and something else begins, there's your answer. It's the source of everything we could possibly desire in life. There are no problems that haven't already been solved, no needs that haven't been met. The knowing vision is one of lavish abundance, a flawless physical system, ideal relationships, and fulfilling creative self-expression. Nothing is missing for a whole, complete, and joyous life. Nothing is missing unless in our mind we believe that there is, because we create with the mind both and, what we want and what we don't want. So Spirit's creating all the time through mind, and then creates us in the image and likeness of Spirit. So we're creating through mind. If you close your eyes right now and just follow my instruction, I want you to see in your mind's eye a tree. What if this tree, first of all, notice that you've decided what the tree looks like. Isn't that interesting? I bet if you asked a person sitting next to you, it would be different. So you've decided what the tree looks like. What if that tree is an evergreen? Does that change the way it looks? Let it change in your mind to look like an evergreen. Now, bring it back to a leafy tree of some kind. Choose your leaf. Maybe it's fall. What color are the leaves? You're choosing the color. You can see it, right? Now it's winter. What happened to the tree? It lost its leaves. Now it's spring, and there's little green buds on it. And every time I ask you, or basically insinuate an idea into your mind, you are choosing what it looks like, correct? Okay. I didn't do that for you. Nobody else can do that for you. You are in charge of your mind and your imagination, so you get to decide what it looks like. That's the way Divine Mind decided for you right now. Think about you individually. The whole, complete, infinite mind of God is focused just on you because it's focused on itself. It's focused on becoming. It's thinking, I'm going to send Kitty in. No, I'm going to send me in as Kitty, and Kitty's going to look like this. She's going to be in this body, and if I had another chance to redo that, we would redo that. But I'm sure it's for a good reason. And she's going to be excited about these things. She's going to have this color of skin. She's going to have this color of eyes. And in she goes, and out, poop, here she comes. Here she, poop. Probably not the best word. But body, personality, purpose, individual expression of the divine. Each one of you, Spirit went through the exact same process. What shall I be this time? What shall I be this time? Who shall I be this time? So, what Spirit did in divine mind, you too do in your mind, because your mind is divine mind, but now it's inside a body and it's in a physical dimension, and you're choosing and deciding and picturing and feeling, attracting, and creating. That's why you're here. That's your purpose. So, know that the reason you can do that is because the allness of God dwells in you. The mind of God, the source of God, the substance of God, the power of God. Everything you need already starts in you. So, let me just say this out loud. We have infinity at our fingertips. Really, at our thought. Why the heck are we complaining about anything? Why don't we just change it? I know, you're not liking this. I'm sorry. But I have to say it to me too. If I don't like it, what do I want instead? So, Charles Fillmore, our co-founder of Unity, fell in a skating accident as a young boy and dislocated his hip. And back in the 1800s, they didn't know what it was, and they didn't know how to fix it. So, this is from The Story of Unity by James Dillett Freeman. A doctor decided that rheumatism had set in and treated the boy for that. There was no improvement. Instead, the leg grew steadily worse. A succession of doctors produced a succession of diagnoses, but no improvement in the patient. In the words of Charles Fillmore, hold on, I was bled, leeched, cupped, lanced, seasoned, blistered, and roweled. 6 running sores were artificially produced on my leg to draw out the disease condition that was presumed to be within. By that time, the hip socket had been destroyed, the leg had stopped growing and could not be moved. For more than 2 years, the disease ran its course in the leg, sometimes seeming to disappear, only to return with increased violence. Often, he must have wondered why he was making the struggle. It was a titanic struggle. But there was a titan in the little boy, and the struggle was made. Whenever he could be, he would be up and about on a pair of handmade crutches, hopping around the cabin, doing what he could to help. And when the disease would bring this body down again, it would not bring him down in spirit. He never gave up. This boy didn't know what it meant to give up, to sickness, to poverty, to discouragement. So, he went on with this disease. It was tuberculosis, I think, that set into the hip that made everything worse, and it started to spread through his whole body. So this leg was 4 inches shorter than the other. He got a big old shoe lift and a brace on his leg for years and years in constant pain. And then he noticed his wife, Myrtle, had healed from tuberculosis when the doctors had told her she only had 6 months to live. So he paid attention to what it was that she had done after her too going to all doctors for all treatments, and they finally gave up on her. So, hear me? I'm not saying to give up on doctors. I'm just saying it's both and. And at this point, he's watching her healing through her prayers and her faith and her mind and her belief of who she really was. Here's the famous statement that she grabbed hold of. I am a child of God. I like to say expression of God. Therefore, I do not inherit sickness. She got it. She was a spiritual being, and her body healed. So he began to look at himself that way. He began to work with his mind night after night after night for hours at a time till 2, 3 in the morning every night, never gave up, visualizing his leg as spirit, as light, as energy that was already perfect and whole and complete. And over the next years in his life, probably took him till he died, he went from 4 inches shorter on one leg to 1 inch shorter. And he probably would have finished it up if he'd lived long enough. It's all in the mind. Open your mind to infinite possibilities. Now, we're going to talk in Food for Thought afterwards about this subject. So if you've got but what if and how about and blah, 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 write it down, and then we'll talk about it in the other room, because I'm sure you could come up with a whole bunch of reasons why. All right, so let me just quickly give you a few ideas here about what's true. I'm trying to cut down. I don't have to tell you all of this. You've been endowed with certain inalienable rights, one of them called the spiritual power of imagination. And this imagination we misuse often. When we're faced with a new task, we already start to picture failure, or I don't know how, or what if this goes wrong? How many? Anyone? Okay, yeah. So we're really good at that. How many of us are good about here's what I need, or here's what I want, or here's what I desire, and what if I could create that? So instead of just saying I have that, because sometimes the ego or the subconscious will fight you on it, start with what if. But what if I could find a way? What if someone would help me? What if a new idea came to me? What if I saw how it was done somewhere else? What if the resources showed up on my doorstep? Those are the kinds of ways that you start to get your picturing power working, and you can see it happening. So ask yourself this question: how big is your want to? Do you even want it big enough? Because that's when we really start to stay with something. How strong is your motive? If you can cut out the part that says, but first I have to figure out how, just set that aside, because as Jesus said, it is not I, but the Father within that does the work. It's the divine law, really. It's the law of attraction that's going to do the work. We just have to get ourselves into that state of alignment with it. You use your picturing power to see it already done. Don't worry about the details and how you get there. And think about how that feels to you. What would it be like if this were already done and I were already living this life, I was already helping others? Albert Einstein, theory of relativity. That's how he got to it. He just mulled it over. He didn't know how to get to it, but he did know bits and pieces in that neighborhood, so he just kind of mulled over these other things that he did know, and just like a magnet to iron filings, he drew in the ideas. Because he just kept thinking about, what he wanted it to do, and ultimately, we called him a genius. Up here on the screen, here's what Esther Hicks says. Genius is just attention to something specific with your mind, right? The law of attraction makes it happen. Anyone who gives attention to any subject for a period of time will evolve in the direction of that understanding. Mull it over. Use your picturing power. That's a muscle, and it will weaken without use. So keep practicing until suddenly you can feel it's done. I'm so excited. I'm looking for it. I'm expecting it every day. When you've got those energies and feelings that align with what you're creating in your mind, you know you're there. At least get to hope. And as Esther Hicks would say, get to hope, and then you're aligned, close enough for it to start attracting. So remind yourself, the law will take care of the details. I don't have to figure this all out. Throw in a sense of humor about this. Don't make it all so serious. Sense of humor is a high vibration as well. That too will get you in alignment with spirit and make you more accessible to the ideas that you're looking on. Throw in some love and appreciation for the fact that we even have a mind, and we have a divine law, and we're one with God, and God is our source. Just feel grateful for that. That will raise your vibration and align you with the finished product. But work that imagination using these tools. Charles Fillmore on the screen said, to allow the imagination to drift in daydreams never brings anything to pass. Ideas must be worked up into living, breathing, thinking things. So here's some responses using our power of power, which is our ability to control our thoughts and control our feelings When we are wanting something, desiring, needing something, and the first thought that comes to us has something to do with competition. Up here on the screen, I'm going to say the competition, and you're going to say that what follows. Together, there's enough for all, right? If the mind says, but I don't know how, then we say, I can learn. Got that? Next. If I say, the last time I tried this, I failed at it, then we say, we're going to look for a new way. And if we've decided, ego says, that's just impossible, together we're going to say, it's already done in the mind of God. Well, my experience has been, and we say, no, Spirit has the solution. You get to tell the story of your desire until it just starts growing and unfolding and feeling good in your being. So what if and won't it be nice are good words to start with, and then just go straight to the end. Already finished, what's it look like, how does it feel? You just keep improving on the story, use big positive words like, something wonderful is happening in my life. You don't even need to know what it is. Just something wonderful is happening in my life. Why? Because God is the only mind filling all space, and God is all love, and God is all power, and God is all provision, substance. Why shouldn't wonderful things be happening in our life? I'm yelling. I'm sorry. Bring it down. Breathe. I'm excited. Can't help it. So, one of the dominant lessons at Abraham Hicks teaches up here on the screen. Take the time to line up the energy first, and action becomes inconsequential. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay? That means things are just going to happen for you. If you don't take the time to line up the energy, if you don't find the feeling place of what you're looking for, no amount of action in the world will make any difference. Do you understand why that is? Because if you want X, but you feel and believe it's not possible, then you're basically generating that feeling of not possible, which is frequency negative 1.1, when this is positive 10.0. And you're just missing each other. But if you can get to it's possible, all things are possible for this dream to happen, you're at the same energy. Now you're in a place where all things are possible. Okay? So start with the mind. Not your brain, not all the things that you've learned in school, but the divine mind that you are inside right now. Just imagine that. It doesn't take up any space, and yet it fills all space. So right now there's this divine mind that encompasses everything in this physical dimension and beyond. We're inside that mind, and whatever we need to access from it, it's always available to us. So there's no money required for that dream, at least not to start with. And if it's required, it starts as substance, and as you know that, it becomes real for you. Doesn't mean that you have to have a degree hanging on the wall. All we need to know is I'm in the mind of God, and the mind of God knows everything, and so I'm just going to create a space where I'm in alignment with that mind, and I'm looking forward to hearing from it. Here's my desire. Looking forward to hearing what my job is next. And if it's just sitting here, mulling it over and having fun and finding pleasure in it, good. Enjoy that pleasure of imagining it finished. And then let the divine law do the work. You understand that? Okay. One last story from Anita Murjani, who left the body in a near-death experience and remembered, I am spirit, I am eternal, I am God expressing. Here's what she said. Since the tapestry of all time has already been woven, everything I could ever want to happen in my life already exists in that infinite, non-physical plane. My only task is to expand my earthly self enough, there it is, to let it into this realm. So if there's something I desire, the idea isn't to go out and get it, but to expand my own consciousness, it's all in the mind, to allow universal energy to bring it into my reality here. Now, if you are sitting there going, oh my God, I can't wait to get started, I think you might have gotten it. And if you're like, I don't think this is really how it works, meet me in the food for thought and let's talk about it, okay? Let's just hash out those arguments and see. I might actually say, you're right, that one won't work, but I probably won't, all right? So let's take some time in meditation. I'm going to grab that list because we're going to work with that. What I highly suggest we meditate on, you can just choose one of these, but I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. Allow your mind to open, to receive a truth that sets you free. God is mind, filling all space. There is no question that cannot be answered, for God is mind, filling all space. And I am grateful. God is spirit, filling all space. I cannot be separate from God, for spirit is everywhere present. God is substance, filling all space. There is no lack. For all begins with the invisible substance that is everywhere present. God is power, filling all space. I am empowered to do what my heart desires. For this power never leaves me and meets me wherever I go. God is love, filling all space. Even now, this love is working all things together in harmony for my highest good. God is the all, filling all space. Beyond what I see with my eyes, what I touch with my hands, the allness of life and love and substance and intelligence fills all space. This is the truth of the universe. This is the truth of my being. And now, and again, and again, and again, I allow it to be. And so it is. Amen.